Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call, starting a fresh new week. And it's not a bad-looking screen if you look at world markets. And it looks like global bulls are everywhere. Stocks, currencies, commodities, even Bitcoin for that matter. Will some of that rub off here in India is the question, which we will start talking about here in just a bit. This is Bazaar Morning Call. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Surabhi and Nigel. Guys, good morning.
Hi, morning, folks. So back after the weekend, and hopefully the bulls will want to, retain control, keep building on some of that ground. But you know what? It's women on top in global markets today because the new Japanese Prime Minister, first time ever, I think the country's gotten a woman leader, and Miss Takaichi. I mean, her presence is leading to a 4% rally in Japan. So that's a big global headline.
Well, that's right. And the Indian markets at least found their form towards the end of the week. So let's hope we continue with that sort of form.
Absolutely. And actually, it's pretty a good-looking screen overall with markets, financial markets and all kinds of markets doing very well. As I said, I was looking at Bitcoin over the weekend, look at gold this morning. You, of course, look at, the unloved, under-owned equities in Europe. Forget about US, which has been doing well anyway. So it's really, it's a global bull market. Even actually for emerging markets as a pack, I'm not talking about the Asia ex-Japan pack, which we normally sort of associate and sort of put India into. But if you look at the broader EM basket, this has actually been one of the great runs going back the last 15, 20 years or so. So that's where we're at. Now, no signs of course, U.S. shutdown relief. That was the big story from last week carrying into this week and out of the U.S. So no jobs report as well. And that was supposed to be the big data point as we sort of started this week for global markets, etc. And that's had an outsized impact one way or the other, but no data because the U.S. government's shut down. So Friday, in terms of equities, it was directionless. S&P was up a little bit. Nasdaq was down a little bit. You had ISM services data. So there is a bit of mixed commentary here. The headline number is above 50, which means it's still in expansionary territory. But the business activity printed the lowest since 2020. Anyway, I think if you look at yields, dollar, etc., not very much by way of a move. Now, the market in Japan, the Nikkei, which anyway has been rallying hard and strong, another 4% higher. Madam Takaichi is set to be Japan's first female prime minister. She, her policies, and if you read about her, what she said in speeches, etc., is not very drastically different from other candidates, but maybe at the margin a little bit. She's okay with the bond issuance, the unending bond issuance program in Japan. Little more than others, maybe a little more expansionary in terms of government spending, etc. The things that, it's too early to hike rates, interest rates. So I think those are primary reasons why you got the Japanese stock market, which is rallying up a little bit more. Now, OPEC is adding more oil into the market, more supply into the market. So there are already concerns of a global glut. Remember, oil prices even on Friday, over the last 1 week basically, are down some 10%. So, prices have already reacted coming into this event. And I think, if anything, we got a bit of a move on the other side. China, nothing out of there. China, the Golden Week holidays, the onshore market reopens on the 9th of October. Now to tie in, a bit about India here. Those trade talks and, Indian delegation, US delegation meeting, trying to work out things, etc. It's quieted down, hasn't it? Especially over the last fortnight or so. But there's this Kautilya conference in Delhi at which the External Affairs Minister of India, Jaishankar, spoke. And he basically said that, he basically confirmed in a way that we've not arrived at a landing ground for our trade discussions. So not trade discussions themselves, but basically at a place where both parties can sit face to face and start to talk about how to resolve this. So that common ground has yet to be found. I said it has to be an understanding where our bottom lines and red lines are to be respected And there's more from that speech, which we'll put out later on. But I thought this was the operative and the critical part in that sense. So no real movement, I think, is the takeaway at this stage as far as the India-US bid is concerned. And that perhaps, as you've heard from many who've appeared on this program, on this channel over the last 1 month or so, is a big deal in terms of sentiment towards India, even if it's not really hurting at least the organized, the listed universe in a more meaningful, direct earnings-related way. I'll just tie in the levels. So the market, of course, has had a decent move last 2 days. Of course, especially after the Reserve Bank of India's measures for the banking space. So we closed around the 40-day exponential moving average. So we moved away from the hourlies to the dailies. The resistance now is the 50 and the 61.8% retracement of the prior falls for the market. So 25,018 is the 50% retracement, 25,120 is the 61.8% retracement. The support here, 24,587, it's the recent low, and that will be the same for the Nifty Bank as well. The Bank Nifty has continued its momentum. It's actually, if anything, done a little better, especially even prior to the RBI moves and after the RBI moves as well. And here the resistance now at about 56,528. Gift Nifty will give you a quick sense of how we're likely to start. We'll pick it up from there. I mean, banks and financials should be in focus. Plethora, it's a long list of pre-quarterly updates. Is a kickoff of the earnings season as well, which we are going to focus on. 50 points lower on the Gift Nifty. How's the F&O positioning looking like? Nigel's walked across to the wall. Nigel, over to you.
Well, a quick word on the cash market flows first. The FIs, they continue to remain sellers. However, selling has come down to around 1,500 to around 2,000 crores. And though we have seen a bit of a bounce in the last few trading sessions, no big signs of them covering their shorts as yet, at least, because they added close to 13,000 short contracts and the short positioning is at around 93%. And we keep talking about the FI net short positions, how it's gradually moving towards that 2 lakh contracts. For the time being, the net shorts are at around 1.9 lakh contracts. However, the client positioning, they have been building onto longs. And the long positioning now is at the highest level we have seen all the way since March 2025. So the clients and the FIs, they're in opposite ends of the spectrum. Sometimes that's not such a bad thing, because when you have shorts in the system, that's what could cause them to get squeezed out a little bit. But on the option side, they've continued writing some puts. And for the second straight day, the number of puts that are written are double the number of calls that were written. So that's heartening. Maybe in the near term, they as well are not factoring in the Nifty to go below that 24,300, 24,500 odd levels. Moving to the options data, then it appears there's a bit of a strategy that's playing out. Tomorrow, you'll have both these two strikes that will expire, because you have the Nifty weekly expiry now on a Tuesday. 24,900 call as well as put. Fair bit of open interest build up. You combine the premium between them, it's close to around 150 rupees, which gives you a broad sense in terms of the band. There could be possibly a short straddle that works out here. So 150 minus 24,900, 150 added to 24,900. And that's the broad range you're looking at. 24,750 to 25,050, important mark that we're looking at. But, you're looking at a couple of technical levels in the near term, both on the Nifty as well as on the Nifty Bank. So on the Nifty, the first line in the sand is around the 25,000 mark, which is the 20 DMA. And on the Nifty Bank, the 100 DMA comes into play. Keep in mind, the Nifty Bank went through 6 straight sessions of losing, and now we're on a 4-session winning streak. So the Nifty Bank has been leading the way, and a couple of big banking names, HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank, the operational update is quite good. So we'll have to see whether or not the Nifty Bank can drive home the advantage. That's going to be important to track today. 2 stocks I'm looking at. Well, the government has gone ahead and they have revised the CGHS rate revision. That's the first revision we've seen in 15 years. A lot of stocks will be in focus, but Yatharth, since they get a bulk of their revenues which have exposure to the scheme, that's why, in fact, I'll keep an eye out on Yatharth. That could possibly be the stock of the day. I think we should get that one up for you on the screen. All of them have some exposure, but Yatharth could be the one. And we'll also look at AB Lifestyle. Remember, the stock has been under some pressure post its listing. There's a large trade. Once that gets cleared out, maybe you keep an eye out on that one as well. So both these 2 stocks will be on the radar for today.
Okay, all right. So those are the stocks to watch. In Asia, of course, many of the markets are shut for regional holidays. The one that just takes your breath away is Japan. And imagine that. I mean, from the April lows, the Japanese market has rallied 56% already, making it among the best performers around the world. And that's only continuing. Today, let's just bring up the implied open. So the suggestion is that it'll be 50 points, lower once again. That's been the problem with our market, that it's 1 step forward, 1 back, or maybe 2 back at times, or 2 forward and 1 back. And that is a pattern that has not broken. Will it this week? Well, we'll find out as we keep going through the cues.